This is the Mobile Tech Podcast, brought to you by worldpodcasts.com. Now here's your host, Tech Girl, Miriam Joire.
Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Joire, and today is January 10th, 2019. We're at CES, and I have the most awesome group of people here in a room at Treasure Island, and we're going to kind of recap CES or whatever, talk about the stuff we haven't talked about yet. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Michael Josh from GadgetMatch.
I'm Nicole Scott from Mobile Geeks.
I'm Jules Wang from Pocketnow.
Nick Gray from Phandroid.com.
I'm Michael Fisher, aka Mr. Mobile. Boy, this is gonna be a smooth show.
You forgot already who you were. Whoops. That's the end of CS, folks. So we got a bunch of stuff on the list. They don't have to be talked about in order. As you who are listening right now know, if you listen to the previous show, we covered already the press days. So everything up to Tuesday morning has been pretty much podcasted about, which is why you don't see things like ASUS on the list. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean we can't bring them up again. There's a bunch of stuff that kind of stood out for me. And the first one that really got me excited kind of ties in really well because it's Tuesday morning, first thing in the morning, was Google. I am, as you know, a big fan of Google Assistant and the entire ecosystem. I think all of us are, but I'm kind of blown away by this thing they're working on called Google Assistant Connect. Basically, the ability to make Google Assistant compatible devices that are going to cost like virtually nothing to make. Like we're going to see like these e-ink based little fridge magnets that are costing $10. They're going to be all over a house in like 5 years. You're going to find them in drawers and stuff. It's going to be awesome. And the first one that's commercialized is a Lenovo product called the Smart Clock. And it looks like basically a Google Home Hub shrunken down in size. And this is the thing that totally blows my mind. It's $79.
It's very, very cute. And
so what do you guys think?
It's pretty good.
I agree with Jules. It is very, very cute. It's soup's adorable. I will say this. I think the price blows me away if you're thinking about it as a shrunk down Google Home Hub or a smart display. If you're thinking about it the other direction, though, it's like, just kind of like an alarm clock, but maybe a slightly fancy. Whoa, $80 for an alarm clock.
Expensive for an alarm clock.
Yeah, I'll stick with my phone. Thanks.
But
messaging is weird.
At that point, I look at it more like I think it's not going to do everything the Google Home Hub does, but think of it as a shrunken Google Home Hub. And at that point, it's like, oh my God, like, that's not a bad price. I mean, it's a full-on speaker. You can stream music and podcasts and everything to it.
Definitely.
That's freaking cool.
And it's really made for the bedroom. I mean, I try to use my Lenovo Smart Display in my bedroom, and it never really felt like it belonged. I feel it belongs more in the kitchen.
Definitely.
Yeah, and but the display was too small to kind of watch YouTube videos off of in my bedroom. So I feel like this is the perfect bedroom device. Goes on your nightstand.
I think from like a perspective of it being an alarm clock, for me, I'm trying to get my phone out of the bedroom, right? Because I sleep better. Like sleep hygiene is a real thing. And if you look at this device as like a sleep hygiene device, $80 is really cheap. If you can kind of say, okay, I have all of my calendar things, I can ask questions, but I'm not scrolling Instagram and I'm not watching YouTube videos, although you should all watch our channels obsessively.
But that was actually Lenovo's pitch when we were looking at it. They were saying people are trying to get rid of their devices close to bedtime, early in the morning, or when they're going to bed at night, and that was their main pitch. And for me, it was the fact the alarm clock kind of lightens up a little bit in the morning. It's like the ambient light display.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
and they have ambient light sensing, not just brightness, but color temperature, which, as we know, was a big hyped feature on the Google Home Hub. And I figure that sensor is not that commonplace yet, and we're finding that on a $79 device. Like, wow.
So my question to them was, though, does it actually get super dark at night when you turn off the light? And it is not an AMOLED display; it is an LCD display.
But neither is the Google Home Hub. It's an LCD.
Yeah, but this is going to be right by your face.
But I have one in my room, and it's so dim you cannot see it. Okay. It's like basically you can see the outline of the numbers. That's it.
Okay.
It goes into this mode where it just displays in large numbers the numbers of the time it is. And it detects that you've turned off the lights and gives it in the dimmest possible mode. Trust me, you do not even see it.
Because they promise you will be able to see the time when you need to see it, no matter how dark
I think if it's done as well as Google Home Hub, this is going to blow us away for $79.
The screen's nice to have, but in the end, I mean, it's really a smart speaker. mostly. So you're just going to have to, figure out what you want to do when you're looking at it in the morning, or if you're not. So
yeah, I agree. The screen doesn't. It can only do a handful of things. I mean, they don't even have photo support out the box, and they're
they
thinking
don't.
of including it, but it's not there right now.
It might be too much though.
Right, but there's, to me, there's too little right now. Like there's the weather. I don't need to see an animated sun behind a cloud.
It's a really fancy alarm clock. I
You're
like
right,
the fact
yeah.
that what I did appreciate is, you know how you do ask Google to set an alarm for you, but you get paranoid and you still have to check still.
Yeah.
Did I say AM, PM? Did it get it right?
Did it actually
At least
set
you
the
can
alarm?
you can see what time has actually been set.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
And that display is too small to look at pictures. Like, what kind of photos are you going to put on it? Like,
No, but I mean, just to have
it's
something
fine.
other than the clock.
The one
I'm
of
totally
10
with
clock
Michael on
faces.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look, the way I look at it to me is like you can buy a Google Home Mini for what, $39, $49?
49.
49.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some days
look,
29.
At this point, and they've also they're on sale for the holiday like, for $29 a pop or something. I think we're going to see the same with this. This is just one, right? This is just Lenovo. Google's going to make their own. Somebody else is going to make one, and then we're going to have this plethora of devices, and they're going to go in price to below $50. I can guarantee you within a year.
Yeah.
And because mass production, and because Shenzhen, right? I mean, basically.
And it also it will outdo the Google Home Mini in terms of acoustic performance.
Yes.
Right.
Lenovo
Sounds
was
good.
saying they
Right.
slot it
Oh,
slots
wow.
between Google Home Mini and big Google Home.
Right.
Yeah, the audio that comes out of it is quite impressive.
It is so small. I'm
It's-
blown away that
True.
that's the case.
it'd be
Honestly, didn't
worthwhile.
think it needed to sound better than Google Home Mini for what it was, but if it does, wow.
No, yeah, it sounds incredibly better than the Home Mini. Yeah,
Cool.
and I would say on par with the Home Hub.
I didn't actually hear it, so I'm glad you heard
Very
it.
cool.
And they're
like an
promising
Echo?
that it'll get smarter too eventually. So right now it can kind of predict when your appointment in the morning is and say, hey, you have an appointment at 8. Should I wake you up at 7?
Yeah.
But eventually they'll kind of figure out, oh, it takes an hour for this person to get ready and
Yeah.
an hour for this person to go to work based on habits. And so they can properly give you really smart predictions about when you should set
and
these
incorporate
alarms.
traffic in the future is
Right.
also on the map. Right?
I
Like,
do
you'll-
want to ask about the cross compare, because some people might be considering moving away from Alexa and, saying that might not serve them. I'm interested in Google Assistant. Like, how does that compare with the quality of Echo or Echo Dot? Like,
Well, Echo Spot is the one you want to compare it to, the little tiny alarm clock
Yeah,
round
the-
one.
yeah.
It's much more expensive, and I think honestly, but this is my opinion. It is not necessarily the fact for a lot of Americans and probably even listeners of the podcast. But I don't think that Alexa is as good of an assistant, and I think they have a better ecosystem for home control at this time. But this is what actually I want to bring up here with this, and the reason I'm so excited about this announcement from Google is that they've nailed it this past year in terms of growing the ecosystem. And it's only going to gain more momentum. And when people realize that if they're willing to give a little bit of data to Google, how much better the assistant suddenly becomes. And I'm sorry, but if you look at natural language understanding and being able to connect multiple sentences that you're having, that like the conversation, I have literal conversations with my assistant that I blow my friends away when I have. And you can't do that with Alexa. It's not even remotely close. You can tell Alexa to turn on the lights, but you can't do anything else that's really that significant. Like I've actually had Google answer medical questions for me accurately without throwing a web page up on my phone, just literally talking to the speaker. And I mean, it just blows my mind. And I think when people discover that, I think it's going to really make a big difference.
Well, while we're on that, to just follow up what you said, I really feel like we're really moving into a time where Google Assistant or any other assistant will be ubiquitous and embedded in all kinds of devices. At one point, I don't think. Right now, they kind of have to make these specialized devices that kind of where Google kind of lives. Eventually, all our devices will have that, and when we move from room to room, device to device, it'll just be a continuation of that experience.
And one of the other trends that we saw from this show is the evolution of the smart assistant into the car. Right,
Oh, yeah.
there was so many like Alexa and Google assistants into the car, so they're finally moving into that space, which is, I think, significant.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I think it's good, and I'm, I hate to say this, I want multiple horses on this race, all right? But I feel like, right now we really only have 2, maybe 3-ish.
Yeah, if you
But-
tie in, are you tying in Siri or Cortana?
Well,
for the
that's
third?
no Siri. Siri is probably
Cortana.
I mean,
Cortana?
hey,
Cortana. I mean, might as well like talk about what was the other assistants out there? Bixby while you're at it.
well, I don't know. I put Siri in.
I mean,
That's a
I mean,
low blow. That's a halo blow.
No,
I think
exactly.
The thing about Cortana is I think it's as good as Google in terms of its natural voice language and its AI-ness. It's just not common thread enough that it matters.
Right.
Whereas I think Bixby just sucks.
Don't tell Samsung.
I also like. I actually like what Lenovo did with their Smart Tab. It is a tablet with a built-in dock, but it comes with Alexa built in.
Yeah.
But it's not a hard sell. Hey, do you want a smart display? It's like, do you want a tablet? Do
That
you?
turns into a smart display.
Yes,
Yeah.
it turns into a smart display. It's a tablet that turns into a smart display, and so happens to have Alexa built in.
So is it running Android when it's not docked?
Yes.
basically? Oh, okay,
Yes.
cool.
So-
Regular Android tablet, mid-range device, and
It's-
price
it's-
is like $250
Yes.
with the speaker included.
Yes.
It's cheaper than Amazon's.
Yeah.
So it's a
Echo
good
Show.
intro device. So look, you might not be in the market for a smart display or a personal assistant.
Is it technically a dual boot, or is
No,
it seamless?
The smart display, it's just an app. It launches
Yes. Okay.
once it docks in,
Yes.
or you can launch it manually.
And it's about
from the App
90,
Store.
95% at parity with a full Alexa device.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that are still.
The only thing that's missing at launch is the ability to do drop-in, the video calling, but that will be added in a software update, I think, in the first half of the year.
Yeah.
Or the first quarter, even.
I like that. So that we can get more people into to kind of consider that they might need a virtual personal assistant in their lives.
Yeah.
So the conversation that I actually had with Lenovo was they were actually approached Google and Amazon at the same time with the approach, and Amazon was the one who just said, "Yeah, let's do it," and Google said no.
Huh.
So they approached Google and Amazon with the concept, and Google didn't want to
I
do
tell
anything
you,
with it.
my gut reaction theory about this is that Google does not want Android tablets to exist.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing I've been hearing over and over at this show is Google is increasingly difficult to work with implementing Assistant into anything that Google doesn't specifically want it to be. They're being very challenging.
And you know what? I think that's a very Apple-y way to do things. Vertical
Yeah, I
integration
was
is
gonna
a
say.
really important thing.
It's
in this
anti-Microsoft
But
in
that
that
being
case.
said, Google Assistant is in virtually everything this year. So
Yeah.
there's few and far between as far as like categories of things that they haven't thrown Assistant into. So that's kind of interesting, though.
But it's like 50-50 Amazon and Google at this show. For me anyways, the things that I've been like picking up and being like, ooh, oh, this one's Amazon. Oh, that one's Amazon.
But I hear that too from phone OEMs, right? Like it's really hard to work with Google.
Yeah.
Like Google is just really picky, and I think they want to own the experience. And the experience,
understand that,
the
though,
experience
yeah.
is Google Assistant. Ultimately, it's not Android, it's not Chrome. That's where we're going.
but
The
so
OS
technically,
is
though-
voice based.
Technically, though, that tablet does have Google Assistant built in.
Yeah.
And you can have
can
it
download
docked.
the
You
Google.
can close the Alexa app, and you can launch. You can say, "Hey,
But
Google."
it's a different smart display experience.
No, it
All our
Stop
phones are
doing
going off.
that,
Thank
Nick.
you, Nick.
Come on.
Notice, by the way, dear listeners, that when we said Alexa, nothing happened.
yes,
That should give you a trend as to where things are going.
except in your houses.
Right. Yeah.
Alexa, Alexa,
That's in the
Alexa.
listener, yeah.
Hey,
We are-
Google.
So
Guys.
bad.
You are bad. I get really
I want to
nasty
switch
comments.
gears because we
Yeah.
only have limited time, and I want to talk some other stuff.
Sure.
Let's talk. Actually, stay on Lenovo and talk about the Lenovo Yoga S940.
Maybe Nicole,
Nicole
can
needs to
explain.
tell us.
it.
All right, so
Love.
it looks hot to me.
It's
That's
hot.
why I'm
It
including it
is
in the
hot.
topics.
Yeah.
All right.
That AMOLED display is beautiful. Like
Right.
just like the chassis and the design. Lenovo's nailing it when it comes to like just how durable this like their laptops are getting. And I actually just reviewed the previous one, even though I was a little bit late. I'm like, I want hands-on with this series because they're really just getting the profile down just so much, and the battery life or the battery size they're
I
including.
mean, I hate to say this, but if I look at Lenovo's lineup of laptops, I do not want a touchpad. I want a Yoga. Like
Definitely.
they are so hot.
Yeah.
I have the C630 Snapdragon one, the 850,
Yeah.
and that thing is super cool and slick. And now that there's, by the way, a native version of Firefox that was just launched during CES, ARM64 native version, it screams running Firefox. If you want a browser on your C630 that works well, it is nice.
Huh.
It's definitely on par with a low end, like an i5 Intel.
By the way, Lenovo, New Year's resolution, please name your products differently and not C630.
Signed, man.
I told them that during my briefing. I mean, it was this is already supposed to be the easier to remember because like C stands for convertible and S stands for
They
something
got
else.
that number thing going on, too.
But you
It's not
forget what
working.
they stand for,
all
right?
the time. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, it's not working.
So Nicole, you obviously are excited about this. I talked on the last show about the Asus new ZenBook S, which has the thinnest bezels of any laptop, and
97%.
and has this what I call the Audi notch instead of the Innie notch.
Yes.
Right. Which is basically where a little bump is on the lid where the camera sits above where it should always be. And we'll talk about that on the Dell very soon in a second too. But when you close the lid, you now have a lip you can use to lift it. So that the reason I'm bringing this up is because the S940 from Lenovo Yoga S940 has that same kind of design, the Audi notch, as I call it. But here's the thing, they have an AMOLED panel, and I've never... ZenBooks are always a little flimsy feeling to me. Like the keyboard deck and stuff, what's like Lenovo's nailing that, right?
Lenovo's nailing that.
Okay.
No, like 100%. Like I was really pressing down on the center to see if I could like flex it, and it flexed. But I was like basically like putting my weight on it.
Wow.
So, it moved, but the Asus, I do agree with you. Like,
Well, I have the ZenBook, the new one.
The one they just launched, they
Yes.
gave you one?
I have a review
I
unit.
don't know how you managed to do these things.
And
Michael
it is
Josh.
kind of tough. It is
But I
kinda
mean, it's your connections in Asia, isn't it?
tough. HQ, the folks
Asia,
at
Asia.
Taiwan.
So you have it. And what do you
Gadget
think?
Well, so the one I have doesn't have the last coat, so there's supposed to be like a protective coat, but the build quality on this new ZenBook is actually pretty amazing.
I mean,
as well.
they're very good usually. It's just I always find them like they're premium. They feel good. The materials build quality is good, but I just always feel like I'm gonna break them somehow. Like, although I know I'm not. It's just like this kind of like slight. And maybe being flexible is good because if you do drop it, it can absorb shock better. I'm not sure, but Lenovo has a reputation for making bulletproof devices. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just that like when you grab both sides and you kind of push forward on the display to see if you can get those kind of like display bubbles.
Yep.
It hasn't
Well, you
been
won't
happening.
get them on OLED.
Yeah, but
for one thing.
Well, but I'm also the kind of person that accidentally sits on my laptop. So it's like important to me.
Have
that
you
this
cracked a screen doing that yet?
No.
Is this something we want to announce on the podcast?
But I've,
Is this a
but I've
world
been
first?
worried.
Nicole Scott breaks laptop by sitting on it.
That could be a new YouTube channel idea.
Can you sit on your laptop?
All right. Well, so you are super stoked. You want one. This is the one to have.
Yeah,
This is it.
for me, well, the Dell is also really nice.
All right. So a good transition.
Yeah, the Dell's
so
really nice.
Just to fill you in, audience, dearests, XPS 13 now finally won't make your face look like a
Like my one?
Or your chin.
Like my one?
Or
Bigger
or
than
shoot
it-
your
because the
boobs.
camera is no longer below the display where it shouldn't be. It's above the display. They found a way to make that happen. That's all I know about it. Anybody else want to add something about that XPS 13?
Well, we can
I
give
got
them
the-
context, right? I mean, the only reason why... So the XPS 13 is the original, like the...
Super thin and light.
slim bezel
Right, that's right.
display.
Maximized
So they're
screen.
and they've already been through 5 iterations of that laptop. Can you believe it's been that long? And
But it's not been 5 years.
And the
so
only-
it's a typical Dell. It's like every 6 months another one pops out.
their
like a suit,
solution
right?
really has been to move the camera down because they didn't have any space up top. But anyway, Nick can...
But yeah, they made the bezel at the top slightly thicker than it was in the past, so it's actually thicker than it was. But the camera sensor, the whole module, is 1/3 the height of what the previous one was.
Got it.
And if you look at it, it's tiny. It's probably comparable to the size of a cheap front-facing camera on a smartphone. But I actually tested it out because I have an XPS 13. I have the Gen 3, and I was at the Dell Experience in the Venetian, and it's low light in there. Like it's horrible. And
Is
I
it
opened
1080p?
up.
Is it HD?
It's 1080p.
Wow.
30
I was
frames per
about to say
second.
don't use it because it's like if you're going that tiny. Like,
Yeah, but so I opened up my 3rd gen, and it's at the bottom, of course. and much larger sensor versus the new one.
Okay.
The new one, like it was night and day. The new one was so much better, so much brighter. I mean, it was a little bit grainy because it was low light. I want to test it out in, a regular lit situation where a room like this is still kind of dark, but during daytime it would.
It was okay
pretty
during
good.
the day when I tested it during the
Yeah.
day. It does come at one cost. Well, Windows Hello
Is no longer there.
Is no longer there.
But they do have fingerprint
Yeah.
authentication for
Is-
Windows
and
Hello.
where's the fingerprint reader?
It's the
in
power button.
The power button.
Oh, good. That's the only way to do it right.
Yes.
It's the only
I'm
way to
sorry.
do it.
But
I don't know why anyone
like
thinks
the,
there's another way.
Asus, the ZenBook
why do
is on
they
the
always
trackpad.
put
Why
on
is
the
it in my trackpad? Yeah.
Like,
On my
Why-
trackpad.
Why
Yeah.
is it?
Wait, why does it have to be on the power button?
Because
You
you
turn
have
it
to,
on.
you still
Because
push
we
the
have
power button.
decided-
You press the power
that,
button, you
Michael.
still have to wait for Windows to wake up for 5 seconds. Then you have to put your finger down on it
No, no,
again.
Yeah.
It's not
no,
like
to
a
bring-
one-touch.
not to bring down-
not,
not to
on
bring
the,
down-
not on the Huawei's.
Huawei,
Not
because
on
they,
the Huawei.
they edited
Not on
the
the
BIOS.
And they're going into like
Everyone's
quick sleep
arguing.
or something like that.
No,
Yeah.
even then they're powered off. You turn it on, you tap it, it logs you in.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah, that's
gets
right.
the
On the
data.
Huawei.
BIOS has
Yes.
been edited
On the
to
Dell,
only on
no.
accept
Huawei.
fingerprints.
So only
On the Dell, you
Huawei.
have to press.
So I'm right, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
On the Huawei, you tap. On the
You can
Dell,
put the
you
fingerprint
press.
reader wherever you want. And also, I like it better than the Windows Hello camera thing. The camera thing is a nice trick.
Yeah.
But I'm always faster with the fingerprint.
Well, then
Yeah.
put it on the camera and then see how you feel
Anyway,
about it then.
all I'm saying is that I like it on the power button, but I do not like it on the trackpad. So
Right.
basically,
Why don't you like little track?
the trackpad is just like it takes away that little corner of real estate. Every now and then you're dragging that one file and you're this close to the edge of the window, and you're like,
All right,
Can I just say what I'm most excited about with all the laptops is the fact that we are seeing more discrete graphics
Oh, yeah.
on more affordable
oh yeah.
models.
So the
Yeah.
the
So Huawei
the Asus has
and
it too,
the
which is
Yeah.
MX150 has
yeah.
been getting around.
Word
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
I'm
and
excited
just,
that personally
it just
because
gets
I'm due
around.
for a laptop upgrade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was really disappointed Dell decided not to
Not to do that.
And
Yeah.
even Lenovo.
I would have loved to see
Yeah.
a discrete graphics option on the XPS.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I'm a little bit disappointed there.
So what else did they change on the XPS? I mean, the
Pretty
design
much
was always
it
very nice.
looks identical, and that's kind of
Does it have the
disappointing.
white carbon
There's
fiber
an-
option or whatever that
yes,
thing?
it's not carbon fiber. It's glass.
It's glass
Oh, it's
weave
glass
or
resin,
something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Resin.
yeah.
It's an HDR display now with Dolby Vision support.
Oh yeah, and that's actually a good thing. So what's the resolution that Lenovo displays? Is it a 2K or 4K?
I think it's a 2K.
Oh, 2K is nice because you know the one thing about the Asus that sucks: 1080p only, no touchscreen, no option for 4K on the ZenBook S. What about the XPS? Does
The
it have a
XPS
2K
has
or 4K?
It goes to 4K
And touchscreen?
up to touchscreen and
And-
up to 2 terabytes of storage.
Right.
So it can get up there.
Fully spec'd, I think it was $2,800.
Oh, that's
That's nothing when you
fair.
look at
That's
MacBooks.
definitely fair.
Are you guys excited about OLED displays on laptops?
Yeah, finally
Yeah.
it's happening. Like this
I
should
love
have
it.
happened 5 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
been
how I
a long
feel.
time coming. I mean, we've
It's
had
probably not
OLEDs on
possible.
tablets for a
Forever.
while, and I'm
Yeah.
like, just put it on the darn thing.
I mean, it should be easier to do on larger formats because you have less space constraints to have to figure out. Like, come on.
I think the challenge has always been that, even in tablets, you look like for a long time, it was Samsung only making OLED tablets. And they were pretty high res, but, they were the early gen OLED where everything was super saturated, everything
Yeah.
looked like a cartoon, and TouchWiz made it even worse because they were running TouchWiz. But I think that, for a laptop, you editing photos, you really need that natural, you need a natural color balance. And on top of that, now people expect 2 to 4K on their laptops. 1080p doesn't cut it anymore, at least at the size that we're talking about. So it's like that was a tough combo to get on an OLED, right? I think it was expensive is basically what I'm saying. It's not impossible to do, but do you want to pay an extra $500 or $200 for your laptop because it's got an OLED? Probably not.
What was the resolution on the MateBook 13?
1440.
Yeah, it's 2K.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So we didn't mention that. I mentioned it on the last show, like the earlier this week show, and I'm getting reviewed it in about a week. I'm really excited about that because the Huawei MateBook X Pro was a beast.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
we all
god!
love
For
that
its
one.
size,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so solidly built.
Yeah.
I felt like I could take people out with that laptop.
Which is
Just
why I'm still
slap
more
them with it, just
excited about the MateBook 13
Yeah.
at CES because of its price.
Yeah. What is the pricing?
$9.99 and then $12.
Yeah, so
$12.99.
so if you have the i5
Affordable.
what's
Non-discrete.
non-discrete graphics,
Integrated graphics.
integrated graphics. That's the $9.99, and then it's 1.2 for the discrete graphics.
Shouldn't we know these
So,
terminologies?
so I had
It's the
a
end
We're
of
tired.
CES.
It's the end of CES.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting discussion with Lenovo because I was like, please tell me the price. And they were like, well, these are just the range. And I'm just like, listen, I can't go on camera and like give it one price and then it shows up in Europe 700 euros more.
Right.
Or like and like I can't like I just can't go on camera and say this stuff to the European market. And they were like, listen, we are aggressively subsidizing this device for the US market. So you're not going to see this price point anywhere else in the world.
So you know what amuses me about this? What really amuses me about this is that Huawei has started a price war
Yes.
in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's Huawei.
And
okay?
And the
Yeah.
Dell press release has it at starting for the XPS 13 has it starting at $899, and then I was like, wow, that's pretty cheap. It's like cheaper than the MateBook.
Where's
And then when I
the-
looked into the details, it's an i3 model.
I was going to say,
yes.
no.
And
I
like,
was
it's a piece
actually
of
going to say,
trash with
as
the
a joke,
i3.
I was just about to say, oh, it's a Pentium Gold. Wah, wah, wah.
Is this revenge for like last year with the Huawei Mate 10 Pro being discarded by all the carriers? Like, come on, this is Huawei showing off we're better than this, and we're going to fight
I
back.
mean, look, you have to understand that this is actually one of those kind of sneaky strategies that Huawei Honor are using in many markets right now. Honor is flooding the European market, almost basically like dumping at price-wise. Like, I bought a phone for my mom last year around Mobile Congress. It was an Honor, and I couldn't believe this. It was better than, it was pretty much, it was an Honor Lite 9. Honor 9 Lite, which is very much spec-wise the same as an Honor 7X, but with a smaller display, and cheaper and better camera. Like, I'm like, how is it possible this is even cheaper than a 7X? And it's I guess it's impossible. It was just like, yeah.
I mean, they're selling a lot of the devices at cost. I mean, they're just trying to flood
they're dumping.
They're flooding the market just to get that market share and the mind share for people, and they're thinking they're going to buy an Honor phone, they're going to learn Honor is Huawei, and they're going to upgrade to a Huawei device.
And
That's a good strategy.
It's not as apparent because I don't know what their services strategy is, because if it's just for name recognition, like where's the point in that if you can't build on that? So.
Well, they have services in China, right?
They have services, but
What's their chance of bringing services to North America or Europe? Come on.
nil.
Shipping volumes, just so they could have that in their financial quarters.
We ship stuff in the US.
We ship stuff in the US. These are our shipping numbers.
Yeah.
This wasn't new. Before we get off of laptops, though, it was announced in December, but this is the first time I got to pick one up. The LG Gram 17.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, is that
Man,
light?
what a
That-
I picked it
delight.
up and
That
I'm like,
magnesium.
Yeah.
Magnum.
Like, looking at the
Magnum
spec
bars,
sheet,
yeah.
it was like, it's like 2.95 pounds. I'm like, well, that
Magnum
still
LG.
sounds pretty heavy. But then you go and you pick up this 17-inch laptop with
massive,
one
and you're
hand.
like, exactly.
And you pick it up by a corner and you're like, oh, yeah.
And you don't feel
It's the
like the
density.
weight of the backside like pulling it down.
Exactly. Oh, man,
I grabbed
great
it
stuff.
at the last night at the Microsoft showcase, and I was like,
Yeah, so I spent a long time with that.
And anyone who hasn't picked one up, I mean,
gotta do
that's the name of the device. That's the name of the category, the Gram.
Gram.
So
1
we are
kilo.
only allowed
And-
to talk about how light it is and not about the computer itself.
Yes. No, but like it people look at the specs and they look at the price and they might be turned off a little bit because it's not necessarily cheap.
no. It's
But
like,
once
Pay
you pick it up,
price.
you realize what the selling point is.
You're
I've been
buying
walking
it
around
for
all
its
week
full
long
the
with
engineering.
even a Dell XPS 13 isn't
Yeah.
a light laptop.
I agree.
And my shoulders are killing me all week long for lugging that thing around. I want a LG Gram.
And that's not the only reason to buy it, but that's the primary
it's the
reason that you're like
primary.
you want a maximum portability. Now it's in the 17-inch offer, and frankly, on the flip side, I'm a little sad because the one they were making a big deal out of at this show, the Gram product, is the reversible, the convertible, which looks nice and is fine and whatever. But you pick it up and it's like, oh, this is as heavy as any other
It's like
damn
a laptop.
laptop.
Yeah.
So
It's
don't
like
put
a
the
laptop.
don't
Don't
dilute
give
the
it the
brand
good-
name.
Right.
Exactly.
can
Right.
we
Really
actually,
frustrated me.
now we're talking about additional laptops I didn't list and I didn't mention in my last podcast. Can we talk about the Samsung laptops? Because
Yes.
you loved the Pen 9.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
I want to hear more
Yeah.
because the one that's got me excited is the higher end shiny
Pro.
one, the
Pro,
Pro.
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do they call them?
Notebook 9.
Samsung
Pen.
Notebook 9 Pro and
and
Notebook 9 Pen.
Yeah.
So bizarre because the pen one, does it have the actual pen from the Galaxy?
No, it's larger. It's scaled
larger.
up.
Okay.
So it's
But it's the same
like
colors.
plan form. They just
Yeah.
scaled it up, and it's the colors that
I
got
love-
me, that got me
that's
in the
what I
door.
love.
It's the
So
yellow.
what's different?
Yellow, blue, and
Yeah,
yellow.
Yellow and blue is basic. But what's the difference between them? One is bigger than the other, yeah?
What between what
The other
The
one's
Pro
pens.
and the pen, because both have a pen.
Oh yeah, but the Pro is like a totally different design language, right? It's like
Yeah.
a totally different thing. It's trying to be expensive. The sides
Premium,
have that
yeah.
sort of like side of a diner counter scalloping. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, right,
It's got,
exactly.
like,
I saw
chrome
that.
on it,
It's
and
cool.
And the Notebook 9 pen is just
It's
like,
almost Art Deco.
yes, yeah, very
Right?
much so.
Yeah.
Whereas the Notebook 9 pen, aside from the blue and yellow colors, which is my favorite part about it, is much more conventional in style. You know, aside from the siloed S Pen.
Is there a
it's less
silo on the
aspirational.
Pro as well, or is that a separate pen?
I didn't see one.
No,
I
the
didn't-
Pro doesn't
So it has
have
a
an integrated S
silo.
Pen. I
It
don't
doesn't.
think.
The pen
doesn't
has
have
a
an
silo.
on the Notebook
That
9
is
pen.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Is it magnetic or no?
What the
No, it's a
silo?
silo.
No, it's
Not-
just
the,
lives in
It's
its
the
own
same
Pro.
mechanism.
Mechanism. Okay.
Oh, the Pro. We don't
Yeah.
know.
I think I saw someone at the hands-on. I thought it was Jaime, like trying to find a spot where the pen would stick, and it
Stick.
doesn't.
It doesn't stick.
Yeah.
No, I tried.
stick.
Oh, you did?
I was
Yeah.
like, click, click, click.
Well, that's a shame.
Hold up, this is a good point. And you were talking about Lenovo before with the C. Remember the C930 where they have the docked silo
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the pen.
Exactly.
I've decided that there's just no possible way I will use a pen on a laptop unless it has a place to live.
Yeah.
In a proper place. It's cool when you can stick the Surface Pen to the side or the Apple Pencil to the side.
But
the
stick it
minute
in
you
your
put that
bag.
into a bag, yeah, right. The
Yep.
pen goes
Yeah,
to the
it
bottom of the
goes-
bag. It's just not
No,
workable if you're mobile
I
all
store
the
this
time.
separately.
Word.
Yeah,
my-
I keep my pen in the box where I won't lose it.
That's what
I keep it at the store.
I just choose not to buy it.
I don't know. As you can see, I'm using my Apple iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil. But on a laptop, though, like even if it's a convertible,
It's a convertible, right? So
Yeah,
you
but
use
I
it-
don't
So
see myself with the.
So the
I'm not
pen is a
believer.
convertible. Is the Pro convertible as well? Like
I don't know.
like yoga style?
I just
No.
spent the whole
I don't
time.
think
No.
it was. No, it's
No.
just a regular.
So it's
laptop.
interesting that it has a
regular
pen even in
It's
the
regular.
first place because you're like pecking at a screen that's going to wobble.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty good.
It's pretty
It's
good.
pretty good because it has pen compatibility, and I was testing it out. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Does the pen come with it in the box, or is it an
I don't
add-on?
know. I was even unclear which markets it's being delivered to.
Oh, really? Oh,
That too.
Because it's not coming to Germany. It's not coming to most of Europe.
It's not
I
going to
think-
Europe yet, all almost, right?
Yeah, it might be going to the
Just-
UK, but then someone was yes and no,
just
so I don't
South
know.
Korea.
It's
Just
basically-
South Korea.
In the United States.
Just right
In
there.
the US, no, it's,
Yeah.
it's coming here. Yeah.
Yep.
Can I
Which is
just
pretty cool.
say, like, I'm disappointed about the lack of talk about. I'm a touchy feely guy, so like the most tactile thing there was the Flash, and it was just like I was just having a dream, fake typing on
That's
it.
the cheap one.
It's the cheap one. It's
Yeah.
the
But it-
entry level one. Come on,
Yeah,
Michael,
and it
give it the
feels-
respect it deserves.
That's a cheap piece, right? No, yeah. So, like, you put your wrist down on it, and it feels like I forgot who made the comparison first, but it feels like that playground material, like that when you fall on it, is that recycled rubber.
Recycled.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tires,
Yeah, yeah.
recycled
Yeah,
tires.
yeah.
I had
Recycled
rocks.
tires.
What kind of
I had sharp.
That's why you're a
rocks.
tough chick, Nicole.
gravel? I fell on gravel.
It's edgy.
What are you talking about?
All right,
Who?
so let's switch a
Talking
little
to me?
bit into
Am I a clown?
another topic, maybe, and talk about like maybe kind of transition from laptops to phones would be that thing that Charbax, Nicolas Charbonnier, has been pitching us all week, which is a lap dock. So,
Oh, yeah.
So I got to
The
do a video
Indiegogo.
and try it out with my Mate 20 Pro, which, as you know, like the Note 9, has a desktop mode that just works when you plug in and a USB-C compatible display. And so this thing is basically a laptop shell. So this is really actually interesting. They took a laptop shell that already existed that had an Intel stick in it, and they removed the Intel stick, and they put their own little ARM Cortex, like very basic ARM processor, so that it would just basically turn into a display. And then they left the cavity where the stick would go, so they can sell a Snapdragon 400, 600, 800 base stick to put in there to turn into a full-on Snapdragon laptop if you want to. So it's modular.
So this is a pimp my dock situation.
It looks like a laptop, like a thin and light Ultrabook style laptop. It has a 1080p display, no touch. It has a webcam. It has a big 12,000 milliamp hour battery. It has two USB 3 ports, full size Type A, one USB-C for input for charging the battery system and keeping the thing going, one for connecting a device and a smartphone to make it into like to grab its display capabilities, and it has a keyboard and trackpad, a nice full-size keyboard and trackpad. And so you can take your Mate 20 Pro or your Galaxy Note 9 and plug it in, and it goes into its desktop mode, and you can use the laptop. And what's great with the Mate 20 Pro, you can still use the phone for other stuff too if you want. And I demoed that on video. But what's even cooler is that there is that hole in the back behind a little panel that you can unscrew. And when eventually in the future this product supports the little stick thing, you'll be able to turn it into a full-fledged laptop or then remove the stick. So it's like basically completely modular and approachable. And
really
here's the
cool.
thing. They're trying to sell it for less than $150.
Trying to.
Trying to.
When?
Besides,
So hard.
Like on Indiegogo.
Okay. When? How,
So, caveat, usual.
asterisk.
yeah.
All I'm
But
saying
this
though
isn't
is
the
that
first time we've
this is
seen
this
this.
is not a
We saw
no,
this last
no,
year.
we haven't, but the price point is unique and the proposition is unique, and I think the technologies involved have evolved to the point where this is maybe more feasible, and more importantly, this is a full metal laptop. Like, it's not plastic, it's
Yeah.
not crap, it's really nice.
Huh. I wish I would have seen that. I hadn't heard of it, but you're right. We have seen this concept
This- like,
just time and time.
This is
again.
I think
Yeah.
the third year in a row that we've seen a new one at CES.
But it was, I don't, honestly, all the ones I tried, I've never seen it work this well. In the sense that I don't think it's them doing anything special. I think it's just that the phones are finally there. And then they are probably doing a few little things a little better than average, like the fact that there's a headphone jack on there. So it has some hardware that can talk to your phone.
Right.
I'd love to be able to look at this thing, but I haven't been able to load a web page since I got into Las Vegas. So
It's a
What do you
pretty
mean?
harsh
that horrible
environment.
network.
This is interesting because I've had zero issues.
On what carrier?
T-Mo and AT&T I've been using. And Verizon at the
Verizon
camper
is
van.
okay.
Timo has been essing the bed this whole time.
Yeah,
So-
I've been okay on Verizon.
I've been okay on T-Mobile until I got into this room. Maybe it's my
Maybe
proximity
it's the
to you.
bands that your BlackBerry doesn't support.
Hey man, it's not
the
my
Mr.
BlackBerry.
Mobile is
Mr.
pulling out the
Mobile
LTE
Black
bands
Hole.
from the room.
It's your BlackBerry, Mr. Mobile.
I've been doing okay on Sprint.
All right, so that's the laptop. So let's transition to phones. There's really no phones at the show, really technically.
Yeah.
But for those of us who don't live in Asia and have access to
China only.
China only, and not only that don't get invited to trips to Shanghai for free to see things early. Hint, 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 PR people. I'm bitchy today. There's the Honor View 10 and the
20.
and the Nubia X and the Red Magic Mars. So we don't have to do them in particular order. I finally got to handle all of them, and I do have an Honor View 20 review in it that I'm gonna unbox as soon as CS is over. And I'm kind of stoked about the Honor because it's my first, personally for me, hole punch hole. What's the terminology? Hole punch?
Punch
Hole
hole.
punch.
My
Beauty
see,
mark.
We can't agree.
Beauty mark. I don't know.
I'll punch
Beauty
you.
mark.
I've been
It's
calling
my
it
first
punch hole.
beauty mark device.
There we go.
Punch hole. I don't know.
And what the hell, 48 megapixel? That rhymed. What the hell,
Yeah.
48 megapixel?
Yeah.
You
So what
tried.
is your take,
You
like in
tried.
general? Like, what do you guys think of this phone? Super flashy.
Super
That's the thing, man. I mean,
Ever since
it's
the Note
amazing
8,
they've achieved that.
Yeah.
the Honor 8, excuse me, with its, laser cut
Yeah.
15 layers of glass, like they've been evolving that design language and just thinking of different ways to put that into vanity uses. So
The
like,
red looks super hot.
kudos to
Yeah.
them for
I have the
I've
red.
got the
Superhero
they gave, oh my
colors.
god,
Blue is where it's at.
I got the blue. They only gave the blue. I mean,
this podcast
Well,
is sponsored by Blue.
she only had a blue one.
I queued first, and after I saw Michael queuing.
What was I doing?
Cooing or
Queuing?
queuing?
Oh, getting in line.
Getting in line.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Getting in
no, no.
line.
Queuing.
Queuing. Yes.
How British
Right?
are you?
And I was
got
like, I
yourself
want
a
to get the
one?
red one because. So apparently, here's a secret. Apparently, the blue one will be more available globally.
Huh.
In more. Apparently. Well, I was told.
Well, it's not
I
a
would say
secret
so.
anymore.
It's not a secret anymore. So get your hand on a red one if you can. But.
Yeah, well,
It's-
it's stunning, and the photos don't do it justice. This is one of those cases where you
Yes.
have to watch
In,
a video.
in
on it.
fact,
video.
in fact, trying to take photos of that phone is a freaking nightmare.
You know what makes
it
it
is
easy?
absolutely a
Do
nightmare.
you know how to capture the
What?
essence of this phone?
Just
you
point
aim
lights at it.
You aim a Mate 20 Pro at it in night mode, and it pulls all the detail out of
night
all those
mode
layers.
is what I should have done.
Yeah,
Who's
it
got
is
one?
Nuts.
Let's try night sight.
Yeah, try night sight too.
Try
but,
night sight.
I mean, but the point, I think this is all like super phone nerd stuff. But it's blown all of us away. I think.
I mean, it's so slim,
Yeah.
and it's got 3,800 milliamp hours in there. I'm like, where did they?
It's 4,000.
It's 4,000.
4,000
Where did they
even.
put that?
Yeah.
Well, it is a large device, so I mean, there's a lot of space in there. But yeah, I mean,
And the upper 6 inch
typically we're
territory
looking
for
at
screen.
3,500 to 3,800, and if this at 4,000 milliamps, this thing can run 2 days.
And it's got this beautiful 6.4-inch punch, hole
Right.
punch.
6.4.
And I'd love to talk
Okay.
about price because that should really be the
What
factor
is the
here.
price?
Well, there is no official pricing yet
Yeah.
because they're not really launching until the 22nd of January in Paris. But, I mean, globally. But based on the Chinese conversions, around 450.
Yeah,
Wow.
450 to
Very
500
fair
based off of.
For
Yeah.
Kirin
Which
980
version?
device?
Yes.
And the new
I thought
Sony
we were over
sensor.
5.
Oh yeah, so what
It was
about
like
this?
530 or something like that.
I
That's
think
what
it
I
was
remember.
about. I did the math. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I could be wrong, too.
Yeah, but 4 to 5. I mean,
500
450 to
bucks, that's
5.
OnePlus range
It's one
here.
plus territory.
Yeah,
So
but
what
it's
about
running
that
the-
48 megapixel?
Yeah.
Have any of you tried the camera?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like for a minute, but
And-
not like sampling
Does it
the
have a
photos
night
and
mode?
actually looking at them.
It does have a night mode.
It also has a time
Stabilized
of flight
mode.
sensor, I believe.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But it only goes out to 2 meters as opposed to like the talk
yeah,
of
the
15
depth
meters.
I haven't
Sensor.
done a lot of comparisons yet.
I mean-
So they're not calling it a depth sensor; they're calling it a 3D camera.
A 3D.
So they're calling it the 48 megapixel plus a 3D camera.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So they're I think they're being a little bit ambitious as to what that camera is going to be
Honor
able to do.
ambitious, you don't
Oh,
say.
man. Well,
No,
like,
but they're saying you will be able to 3D map an environment and like move the environment around, and it'll map the environment for you, kind of like what
Tango did.
Tango did. I don't think it's going to be there, but that's what they're saying.
But they were telling me it's because of the new Sony sensor. What the 5.9? I can't remember the number.
Yeah, the IMX 580
Yeah,
or
586
or whatever.
Like that,
Has anybody
yeah.
else implemented that sensor yet?
Somebody told me it was
yes.
the first.
Okay.
Who
It's
did I
the
Sense
first,
maybe?
but no,
No,
but somebody
that's
else announced
Samsung.
it. It
There
was
there's an Oppo with a
Oppo,
time of flight.
thank you.
The R, I forgot what it is.
17.
17 Pro. Thank you, Chai.
Thank you. We've got peanut gallery back there,
Support staff in the back.
but we support the support staff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, I think it's really hot. I'm looking forward to unboxing it and actually trying it out and taking lots of photos.
I mean, I
and
love the
testing
fact
it.
that we know that the S10's coming
And
with
so,
the punch hole,
um,
and they kind of beat them to the punch.
So what's
Oh, my brain's still working.
What's interesting is that I heard from someone that I will rename nameless that it's coming. The View 20 is not coming to the US as a specific US product like the View 10 did last year, but it's going to be sold in the US by Honor as a global device.
Oh, really?
So no US bands.
No,
specific.
it has US bands. So
No,
it's,
but no, it's going to be the same exact bands as what
as
the
the
global.
it's basically
Yeah.
the exact global unit that you can buy anywhere else.
It'll
as a
just be
global
available
unit.
from honor.com.
And that's what I hear. And it might not even be honor.com. It might be Amazon or whatever.
third-party sellers
but
on Amazon.
supported by Honor. I don't know. So stay tuned, and I'm going to play with this phone and let you know in a future podcast what I
That's
think.
pretty
I'm
impressive. I mean,
stoked
everything
about
that it has to offer is pretty
I mean, for
impressive,
the
especially
money-
for the price.
I know.
As long
It
as you're
and
willing to
headphone
put up
jack.
with
Does it have a
EMUI.
headphone jack?
Yeah.
Does it have a headphone jack?
Oh,
No headphone
No,
jack?
I don't believe so.
No
Not that
headphone
I
No
saw.
headphone. Oh wait, Chai. No. Sorry, I'm asking Chai because we unboxed it already
It
the
has
other
one?
day.
It has one.
It has
one.
See?
but it
We're
doesn't
all
have
wrong.
headphones in the box.
Oh, whatever.
That's I remember having that conversation.
Yeah.
I've stopped checking.
Yeah, me too.
was
It's
pretty-
like I call it like
Doesn't
the
matter
the
anymore.
sediments at the bottom of the box.
I'm pretty excited about the P30 to be honest, considering what the Honor.
But that's
oh,
like
yeah.
another
The
9
Motorola
months
phone?
away.
It's another 2 months.
2 months.
Sorry.
Oh,
MWC.
P30. No, that's
Sorry, yeah.
MWC.
The
So,
Huawei.
so what do you guys think of the new? I mean, obviously, the Nubia X is not new. It came out 2 months ago, or whatever it was now,
I
right?
got the handle for the first
I think
time.
it's interesting. I really like it.
I think it's really slim. That's the thing that kind of blew me away for its battery size. The fact that it has 2 displays, it still managed to be like super sexy.
3,800 milliamp hours.
That's the one that.
So
I was
one feature I
confusing.
really like about it is that you can actually use the second display for multitasking. You can have separate applications
I did
open
not
at
know
the
that.
same time. So
Oh,
you
wow.
can have a messaging app open on one, flip the phone over, and be watching a
And
video.
you can use 2 fingerprints, right? You can register 2 fingerprints
Yep.
for additional
I don't
security.
know how I feel
because
about the
there's-
Nubia loving all that capacitive sensor thing. Like they did something else with the Red Magic Mars, which I have to remember to say the full name of. Otherwise, man,
Otherwise, the world implodes.
the world implodes.
or
But
else
yeah,
it's
it's like
just the
the
Red Magic, and that's another phone.
yeah, exactly.
that's
the
right.
first
We just
phone.
add for every one, they'll just add another word at the end.
Yeah.
Red Magic Mars Galaxy.
Those
Solar
are-
system.
Those are fighting words, Nick. But let's talk about those 2 phones because they're both at the Nubia booth, and I'm blown away by the specs and the price point of that Mars phone.
Yes.
I didn't say the whole thing. The world is imploding. Wah, wah, wah. But honestly, like what, 350,
399.
$399
for the
for a
base
Snapdragon
model.
845. That and a gaming phone that just like the ROG Asus phone doesn't look like could be used, like doesn't look like it's a gaming phone per se, like, you know what I'm saying?
Unless
like,
you turn on the racing strip.
like, of course, but my point is, like, you know, these phones I could see you getting away with using them without people really noticing they're gaming phones unless they see the back.
What, the ROG phone?
Yeah.
So unless they see literally
Unless-
No,
out
but
the
the
phone.
front of them, if you look at the front, it's the same with the Mars. Like, you look at the Razr and you know it's a Razr,
man.
right?
Well, because it's blocky, right?
Right.
Yeah.
but
Just like the
Razer phone
monolith
is
of
still-
Doom.
I
But
would
Razer phone is like
argue-
minimal. It is
Yeah,
much
it's
more
more minimal than
It's-
the ROG
the
phone.
ROG phone just
Yeah.
screams.
But-
What up, fam?
But only
Wanna
from
play some Fortnite?
only from the back. That's what I'm saying. Like the front of the RG phone, just like a generic phone, really.
No, it's got
So
those
if- so you're-
speakers with the lines.
By the way, if you guys
want
want to really piss off my audience right now, don't say ROG, say ROG.
you'll have
Seriously. They email me
ROG
so much
phone.
about
Yeah,
it
ROG
that I'm
phone.
going to maintain this now because you know.
I remember there was a enemy in Maple Story of all things, the freaking MMORPG. It was like it's a ROG, and we're supposed to like battle it for like 46 hours without any continuous, and there's no reward for it. It was
You
like
lost
very
me.
little.
So
Story.
in general, those of you who've played with these phones, I know they didn't come out at CS, but what is your take on the Nubia X? Do you want one? Are you excited? They also hinted at me when I was at the booth that they will do a second gen product that will come to the US, and
that's
and
what
the
I got.
Mars is coming
That's
to
what
the
I got
US.
too.
So what do you think?
As a tactile guy,
Nubia
yes.
US new products like
Nubia X, I like to flip my phone around a little bit and just like and just
fidget
having
spinner phone.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much exactly.
No, I'm with you. I like a phone that takes a risk with aesthetics, and particularly if that risk involves an RGB light strip of any sort. So all those phones.
Sucker.
Give me a Razer phone 2. Give me a ROG phone.
Is that
give me
really a risk at that point, though?
Nubia, whatever. Much more so than like, hey, here's another black rectangle. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I think it is a risk because there's 3 phones ever made with an RGB light strip
Speaking
on
of
the back.
RGB
4 or 5,
lights,
yeah.
the Razer booth has whatever it's called, Chroma.
Yeah,
the Chroma system now syncs with those
Nanoleafs.
panels. What are they called?
Nanoleaf.
Nanoleaf.
Yeah.
Yes, there's Nanoleaf sync now.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
into that.
Your whole room turns red.
I met the Nanoleaf guy last night at the most excellent Mobile Nations party. By the way,
Outstanding.
it is one of the best parties in my 15-year career at CES I've ever attended. Well done.
Wish I could have
Very
been
well
there.
done.
So full credit to the team.
But I met
there.
the guy, one of the guys from the company that makes the panels, which the name
Nanoleaf.
always escapes me.
Nanoleaf?
Nanoleaf. And Nanoleaf, and you know, I want to get some. 'cause they're
Me too.
cool.
Me
Do you have
too.
some
They have
from-
the new.
Studio?
There's new competitors this year to them.
Oh,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you remember the smart clock that will show like your YouTube subscription count? That company announced their own. They're like the Nanoleaf, except they're square, and you can use them to create a panel and display different types
Nanoleaf
of
has
content.
a
They're
square
triangle.
ones too now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, triangle.
Yeah,
But you
triangle.
can put them together and make a square out of
Yeah.
the 2 triangles.
But
They're
they're not
angles.
touch sensitive. They're,
The new
No,
Nanoleaf
yeah.
ones are touch sensitive, and you can assign different controls, like hey, touch twice to play music, or touch twice
Yeah.
to enable this and that.
I would love to fill my room with just these new Nanoleafs.
Oh, so did I.
Right?
Well,
Just
I
walk
go
all
up
over
to them.
them.
I go up to
Put
them,
them
have
on
the
the
usual
floor.
conversation. I was like, hey, we talk every year. I'm the guy who comes to bother you about Nanoleaf stuff, but I was waiting for you to come up with a different shape. And I think they were showing hexagons recently, or somebody was. And I was just like, they were like, yeah, we can send you some. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking to cover like my whole ceiling, so I'd probably need like 18 kits. And they're like, yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I was just hoping
but
one
Mr.
accent.
Mobile.
though. They are
I want one
expensive.
accent.
Mr.
wall.
Sedentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the whole ceiling.
How much
Well,
are they
I mean,
for
you
a
need-
kit?
They're like, it's like 250 for like 8 of them or something. It's
You-
something
Yeah.
stupid
Do you
expensive.
really need 18?
I
To
need like a
do-
lot, yeah.
Well, he
Yeah.
has a big room.
Mobile
You just
Nations
need
money.
the Samsung wall.
The wall TVs.
Yeah, we've
And just
covered.
put that on your
we-
ceiling.
We covered the Samsung wall and the LED,
The
the
thing is,
micro
if you put them on your
LED.
ceiling, you won't be able to use them in videos as much.
If, in case you're listening, we did cover the TVs on last show. So
Okay.
the Signature R from LG, the roll up TV, and the micro LED 75-inch from Samsung, which is incredible.
Modular
Like
thing.
nowhere, it was basically better than OLED, brighter than OLED, all the good things of OLED, and nowhere. Like that's like solved the problem forever of all displays there. And then the wall, right? The wall.
Yeah.
Which only TV stations will buy.
So
Well, it's almost time to wrap up and almost time for dinner.
Almost,
So
but
maybe
we should talk about the
some food?
Impossible Burger.
Wow.
Yeah, nice segue.
Transition boss.
So I really want Michael here to go because
Segue right off a
Michael
cliff.
Fisher
Wait, who has
named this the best product of CES 2019.
Well, I gave it a Best of CES award.
Okay.
And it's the only Best of CES award I issued, so I guess by default,
It
right.
is the best.
Mr. Mobile covering anything that moves, except it's not really covered.
That was a good. That was a Best of Jules joke right
That was
there.
very good
I'm gonna print out that award soon.
But Best of Jules CES.
Here's the thing, like, we've eaten a lot of Impossible Burgers. A lot of us here in this room, we've had them. Impossible Burger 1.0 used this recipe that, in my opinion, without using animal products, without using beef, got us to within 75%. I think is where I was sitting
I'm a little bit
of
more
a real
conservative.
burger. Like 75 to 80% of a real burger was a texture challenge. So when I saw on the shared group calendar that there was an Impossible Burger 2.0 event, I had to go. I couldn't go. So Russell Holly took a sample, brought it all the way across the city
FedExed
of
it to
Paradise,
you.
Nevada, and gave it to me in a solo cup.
you ate it
and
raw.
I put it in my mouth. And I tell you what, I walked around Showstoppers or whatever the little mini show within a show was that particular night, and I had this lingering taste of hamburger in my mouth that was perfect. The aftertaste was perfect. The actual eating experience, I think, got to me within about 93%.
So it's veggie
texture
crap.
just off a little
I ate
bit.
it lukewarm. I did. Yeah. So I mean, but
Was it juicy?
Yes. Yes, it was juicy and it was prepared properly. You know, of course, they had the lettuce and the tomato and the bun, and a little bit of like Big Mac style sauce. So you have this accoutrement around the patty. You know, as I understand at the media event, you could eat it as tartare, which it didn't really work well as. You could eat it as taco meat, which really worked, and a variety of other things. But at the risk of, I will stop going on and on, only to say that I have not been that excited at a trade show in a long time, and I think this has the potential to change the way we eat in ways that could have wonderful effects on the
You can be
planet
vegan
and
and still
ourselves.
have
Yeah.
hamburgers.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
amazing.
And as a burger fan,
I mean, I love
Yes,
the Impossible
that's
Burger,
what I was-
and
right?
I want to tell the audience that we're switching from a mobile show to a cooking show next week.
so tune in.
So
next week.
tune in next. No, just kidding. But no, I mean, look, it's not mobile, but whatever.
Exactly. Like,
it's
I
CES.
wanted to-
Yes,
Yeah.
it's about tech.
Yeah. I bet Laura would appreciate it. That was an inside joke just for Laura. Okay.
Okay, we have
This
no
one
idea.
going out to Laura,
Laura
on
Finnegan.
98.9.
One of your coworkers,
jam.
one of your colleagues.
Wow. All right. So why
WDRX.
don't we all introduce our respective publications and social media things, and then I'll wrap it up with our sponsor, and also I will thank some special people.
Awesome. Well, definitely check out GadgetMatch.com. Make it your daily habit. And we have lots of videos from CS on our YouTube channel. So youtube.com/GadgetMatch. Subscribe and hit that bell icon.
What's your handle, Michael? Come on.
Oh, at Michael Josh
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
So Nicole from Mobile Geeks, Nicole_Scooter. I'm keeping the underscore.
Yeah, keep it.
Always.
You need it.
I need it.
Kids these days have
Because
no
otherwise
idea what
it-
an underscore
No,
is.
because
Fought
otherwise
with
it's
it so
Nicole
long.
Scooter.
Never gets
I think that might be edited out.
No, there will not be edited out because I will not edit it out. No.
Might be a few seconds.
Nick,
Nick.
Nick, go ahead.
You can find me social media Nick M Gray, but I'm the new editor-in-chief of Phandroid.com.
Congrats!
Thank
Yay!
So you can find all the great Android coverage there. So
How do you spell that?
Phandroid, it's a PHANDROID.com.
Some fat beats.
You can find me at the Mr. Mobile everywhere. THEMRMOBILE. And I'm Michael Fisher. Thank you, Miriam.
We need a song.
Michael makes great videos. You should all watch them.
Please do. Thank you.
Jules.
I mean, that Edelkrone cider doesn't pay for itself.
No doubt.
Point Jules personally, and Pocketnow is on pocketnow.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and that's pretty much it. So thanks a lot, Miriam.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. And I think you folks all know, but maybe not the people tuning in, that you can find me online at Tank Girl. at TNKGRL. That's for Instagram and Twitter. That's the same as Tank Girl, the comic book, drop the vowels. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/MiriamJoire. And it's a complement to this podcast. So it's actually called the Mobile Tech Podcast channel now. I haven't actually changed the URLs or anything because I want people to find me still. But anyway, it's a little bit more unified branding in 2019. Woohoo!
Yeah.
So youtube.com/MiriamJoire. And then if you haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, because you just randomly, fell onto it or something, it's mobiletechpodcast.com. And then you can find us on Apple, Google, Overcast, Pocket Casts.
You have the RSS feed.
RSS feed, of course, is on mobiletechpodcast.com.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Use it.
a lot of people don't like that. They just want to go to their app and find it.
Yeah.
And
Anywhere you listen to
TuneIn Radio. I'm on TuneIn Radio. I found that out when I got my Tesla. It's like, oh, very cool.
So tune in radio.
Yeah, and so tune in on TuneIn Radio for the Mobile Tech Podcast. But what I wanted to say was I wanted to give a special thanks to Blue Microphones for having us here in their suite at the Treasure Island Hotel and Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, in Paradise, technically. But for CES 2019, and I do want to thank Tyler, who's basically recording all this and checking levels and adjusting the mics and all that stuff. Thanks, Tyler, for being our producer tonight.
You know what would really make him hate us right now is if we clapped for him.
Yeah, let's clap. But not because we want him to hate us, but because he was really helpful.
Right next to the mic.
I want to quickly say a thanks you to our sponsor, Audible. Audible.com is the sponsor of the Mobile Tech Podcast. And, they're really helping us along. If you haven't really joined the Audible ecosystem yet, you should. You get 30 days for free if you sign up. There's a link in the show notes that I'm going to give you in a second. And basically, you can try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick around, but at least it helps the podcast. If you are somebody who loves reading and for some reason you can't actually read the paper versions or the e-paper versions, listening is a really great option. If you're driving, if you're flying, and you just want to close your eyes and take some stress off because
or lazy.
Or lazy, whatever it might be.
Between episodes of the Mobile Tech Podcast.
That's right. Audible.com is really the best platform for this. They have an incredible selection. So go check them out. audibletrial.com/mobiletech is the link. audibletrial.com/mobiletech. Again, all the stuff we talked about today will be in the show notes. I'll have links to all the respective videos you all created and stuff. It'll be a big party if you go to the actual website. Check it out. So thanks all of you for being on the show.
Thank you.
It was awesome,
pleasure.
and it's kind of like really the last day for me of CES. I know that goes on for another day, but we didn't do it late last year, and I think this is good because we really got everything in. I think pretty much, right?
Yeah,
Almost.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, there's always
All the good
there's
stuff.
always a way too much.
There is always way
to
too much.
cover.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not going to get it all because it's impossible. It's CS.
exactly.
So
And I have a flight to catch in an hour. So.
that's right.
Yeah.
So come back next week. We'll have another show. I'll have another guest. We'll do a recap of the big things that maybe stuff we forgot will come in there. So stay tuned for that. And thanks again, everyone. Cheers.
This has been the Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl, proudly presented by worldpodcasts.com. You can visit us online at mobiletechpodcast.com.